Come on. Lovely. Good morning. Thank you and welcome to this Sedgemoor District Council Licensing and Gambling panel. I will now hand you over to the committee manager, Mr. Taylor.
Hopefully everyone present will hear the meeting. However, in the event of a technical failure, the chairman will adjourn the panel and set a new time for its reinstatement. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and a copy of the recording will be available on the council's YouTube channel within the next few days. All attendees should have their video on, but should remain muted until invited to speak. If you wish to attract the chairman's attention, please, if possible, make use of the instant messaging function. Alternatively, raise a hand or physically wave. And all members of the press and public will remain muted. And the format of the meeting will be as per the agenda published. Over to you, Chairman.
Lovely, thank you very much. I'm just going to whip through the agenda before we do some introductions. So item number 1 is apologies.
No apologies, Chairman.
Number 2, any urgent business?
No, Chairman.
Declarations of interest? Don't think there are any. Brilliant. No. Item number 4 is to consider an application for a new premises licence for the Brick Beauty Salon, 12 to 14 West Quay, Bridgewater, Somerset, TA6 3HW. Right, I'm going to start some introductions off. We'll go around the room, so to speak. I just want to check that you can all see and hear, and you just tell me who you are. So I will start with myself. I'm Councillor Polly Costello. I am the chairman of the Licensing and General Purposes Committee at Sedgemoor District Council, and I am a ward member for Wedmore and Mark. On our panel today, we have Councillor Crowe.
Yeah, Barry Crowe. I'm vice chair of the panel. I also am the councillor for Puriton, Woolhavington, and Sump.
And you can see and hear me.
I can see and hear you perfectly.
Super duper. Councillor Murphy.
Hello, my name is Councillor Mike Murphy. I am representing Burnham North and I am a new member of the panel, so go gently with me, please.
Oh, okay, we'll try. Next I have the applicant. So I've got Emma, is it Bisson or Emma?
Emma Bazant.
Bazant. Okay, I'll try and remember that. Bazant. Emma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Emma, and I'm director and owner of Brick Beauty, and this is my sister Lauren.
Morning, Lauren Keats, and I'm the company's legal director.
Lovely, and you can both see and hear, obviously.
Yeah.
Next, our objector is John Bodley.
That's correct. Yes, John Bodley. My wife and I are residents at Home Castle House, which is adjacent to the Brick Beauty Parlour, and we have some reservations which I would like
Lovely,
to bring.
that's fine. But just at the moment, you can see and hear.
Yeah, fine.
Super duper. Right. Next up was my lovely officers. So, Mr. Weldon.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, all. My name's Alan Weldon. I'm the Licensing and Fraud Manager for Sedgemoor District Council, and I can confirm I can see and hear everything.
Lovely. Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
Yes, good morning, Chair. Nigel Osborne, Legal Advisor to the panel, and I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Super. Miss Webber.
Good morning, Chair. Yes, I can see and hear you, and I'm the legal apprentice for the council.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, Chairman. I'm Steve Taylor, Committee Manager, and I can see and hear you. Thank you.
Super. Right. Well, now we'll kick off, if we may, with Mr. Weldon. Would you like to present your report? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, everybody. As you will see from the report, the matter before you today is consideration of a new premises licence in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003, where formal objections have been received. By way of background, on the 30th of March 2021, an application for the new premises licence in respect of Brick Beauty Salon, 12 to 14 West Quay, Bridgewater, was served on Sedgemoor District Council by Miss Emma Bazant. The application seeks authorisation for the sale, supply of alcohol for consumption on the premises only for the following times. You will see that is Sunday to Thursday, 0900 to 2100 hours, and Fridays and Saturdays 0900 to 2200 hours. Excuse me, the application originally showed a request, as you'll see from Appendix A, for the provision of recorded music for identical hours on all days to the alcohol request, except for Friday, where the recorded music was listed as 0900 to 2100 instead of 2200 hours. Following a subsequent discussion with the licensing officer, however, the applicant agreed that the music being provided was in fact incidental in nature and therefore not deemed a licensable activity. This was therefore removed from the application at the applicant's request. You will see in the appendices a redacted copy of the application is shown as Appendix A, and a copy of the plan of the premises in question is listed as Appendix B. On receipt of the application, the licensing team requested further information in support of an operating schedule regarding the promotion of the licensing objectives, and the applicant's response is shown in Appendix C. By way of a reminder, an operating schedule is the opportunity for the applicant to demonstrate how they intend to promote the licensing objectives when running the business. A plan of the immediate area is also shown as Appendix D. You will see from the green arrow where the premises is in proximation to Home Castle House, where the objectors live, and also a kind of area map showing the proximity to the council offices, so you can get an idea in terms of scale and scan on that. If I may move away from the bulk of the report at the moment, because you would have seen that obviously there was a discussion regarding whether or not recorded music should be included as part of the application. And in this case, it was decided it was incidental in nature. So just by way of a bit of an explanation and a summary, I'd like to refer to the revised guidance, which is supplied to local authorities and in fact anybody in accordance with Section 182 of the Licensing Act. And it summarises as follows, to give you an idea regarding the nature of the music. The playing of recorded music is a licensable activity in some situations. To be licensable, the activity needs to be provided for the purpose, at least partly, of entertaining an audience, has to be held on premises made available for the purposes of enabling that activity, and must also either, firstly, take place in the presence of a public audience, or secondly, where that activity takes place in private, be the subject of a charge made with a view to profit. Now, there are a number of exceptions, including a reference to incidental music, whereby the performance of live music or the playing of recorded music is treated as incidental to some other activity. Whether or not the music is incidental to another activity will depend on the facts of each case, hence the conversations with the applicant as to the nature of the music in this particular instance. One of the questions I would ask is the music the main or one of the main reasons for people attending the premises, and is there a charge for it? Is the music advertised as the main attraction? Does the volume of the music disrupt or predominate over other activities, or could it be described as background music? It's worth noting that in any disputed case, it will be for the licensing authority initially and ultimately for the courts to consider whether music is incidental in the individual circumstances of any case. Finally, with reference to music, it's worth noting the deregulation of the Licensing Act by the implementation of the Live Music Act, in that the following applies. No license is required. So no license is required for any playing of recorded music between 0800 hours and 2300 hours on any day on premises authorised to sell alcohol for consumption on those premises, provided the audience does not exceed 500. So that kind of explains how we came to the conclusion, if you like, that on the initial application, the music in question was incidental rather than licensable. If I can now return you to the bulk of the report, And point 3, the current position, having given you the background, is that objections have been received from residents and also Karen Llewellyn, the development manager, from nearby Homecastle House of Chandos Street, Bridgewater, which you'll see from Appendix D. This development offers retirement living to those aged 60 and above. The objections are largely concerned with the prevention of public nuisance and public safety. I've listed the objections as follows. The objection for Karen Llewellyn, you will see at Appendix E, Linda Livings at Appendix F, Steve and Amy Rummer are Appendix G with subsequently added comments in Appendix H. John and Jennifer Bodley are listed in Appendix I with additional comments in Appendix J. In the latter two cases, so Mr. and Mrs. Rummer and Mr. and Mrs. Bodley, the additional comments, I believe, were added as a result of liaison with the applicant, and the applicant and the objectors did come to a meeting at the premises and discuss many of the issues that were being raised. Other representations were received but were not considered as relevant due to a lack of detail and no link to the licensing objectives. One relevant objection was subsequently withdrawn following liaison with the applicant in the manner that I've already described. You will also see that some objections refer to fire safety matters. We can confirm that the Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue Service are statutory consultees as part of the application process. We have received a response in this case, and the fire service have confirmed that they're in contact with the applicant and are dealing with the matters in accordance with the fire safety order legislation. They have not therefore submitted a representation regarding this application. And as I say, that's largely because they deal with matters under their own legislation, which is more relevant than the matters we're considering today. Finally, in terms of appendices, you will see the applicant has agreed with the police licensing officer a set of conditions to be attached to the license if granted, which are shown in Appendix K. So to summarise the options for the panel today, 1, to grant the application as applied for. 2, to grant the application with attached conditions. 3, to grant the application in part. 4, to grant the application in part with attached conditions. 5, to refuse the application. You will see from the legal comments that it's been confirmed that the representations are accepted as relevant, and it is therefore the duty of the panel to determine the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, which again are listed: the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. So the issue is for the panel is whether the application as submitted sufficiently promotes the licensing objectives, or whether or not the promotion of the licensing objectives requires the application to be granted subject to conditions, or whether the application requires it to be rejected because the licensing objectives cannot be met by the imposition of any conditions. In conclusion, therefore, it is for the panel to determine the application. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you, unless, of course, there are any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Weldon. Do we have any questions for Mr. Weldon at this stage? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, so the next we'll move on to the applicants. Emma and Lauren, if you'd like to present your application to us, thank you very much.
Thank you. So as Alan said, when applying for the licence, the 4 objectives were the backbone of everything that we've designed around our business in order to meet them. So as stated, the 7 points in Appendix C, we hope there that we have outlined how we are going to meet the alcohol objectives, and I can list them briefly. So point 1, staff training will be at the centre of everything to ensure that they are implementing Challenge 25, and this will be updated regularly in accordance with, I think it's 3 to 6 months we have to complete that training. The training document will be in their staff folder. Challenge 25, relevant identification and ensuring that they do not serve people drunk clients. Safety, ensuring that specific treatments won't be accompanied by alcohol, things like a mum-to-be massage or a trigger point massage, to ensure the safety of our clients is at the centre of everything. We have got notices to put up around the building to ensure that our clients leave respectfully, and they know that the surrounding area is residential. Live music, obviously Alan touched upon that, so that's been withdrawn from the application. We have an incident book to record any specific incidents in the salon or the pamper party room, and it's important to note that alcohol will only accompany clients that are having a treatment in the salon as well. So that's briefly outlining how we are meeting the 4 objectives. As Alan also said, we've worked with the police and the fire service as part of the application, and we're compliant in all of that. We're doing what we need to do to ensure that we're safe. And we are going to use the recommendations, the conditions that the police have told us to put in place. We're following through with all of that, and that's seen in appendix sorry, I can't remember which one it is. Appendix K. And all of these professional bodies are in support of the application, the police and the fire brigade. We've voluntarily agreed to the conditions recommended by the police in Appendix K. Sorry, I've already touched upon that. So we'll now kind of deal with the specific objections from the residents of Homecastle. We've gone through all of the applications, and hopefully everything we go through encompasses all of the appendixes E, F, G, H, I and J, which are the objections. So one of the big things was limiting the alcohol we provide to wine and Prosecco. We want to pull it back to the fact that this isn't appropriate for the promotion of the licence objectives. As long as we're compliant in the 4 licence objectives, whatever they're consuming is irrelevant. The licensing hours we've applied for, again, we've Monday to Thursday until 9 o'clock, and then Friday and Saturday until 10 o'clock. Again, that's irrelevant to the licensing objectives and doesn't promote the licensing objectives. As long as we are doing what we need to do to comply and follow those 4 points, it's irrelevant what time we start at and end at. Bring your own alcohol was an issue. We're not allowing anyone to bring their own alcohol. We're not doing that, so that's not relevant. It's the sale of the alcohol, or it's included in the package of the salon treatment. So no one's bringing their own. Me being present at all times as the license holder, well, again, it's not relevant to comply with the objectives. All staff that will be there are all trained as required, and pub landlords don't have to be there at all times. It's impossible for me to be there at all times, and it's not relevant against the 4 objectives. The conditions suggested, which is outlined in the premises licence and conditions, they have to be proportionate, justifiable or capable of being met, and me being present at all times isn't justifiable, and it's not possible to be met or capable to be met. Music was an issue, parking was an issue, an objection. However, they aren't included or relevant in premises license application. So we don't really feel that we have to respond to it. We can if we need to, but it's not actually relevant. Sorry, what did you say? Yeah, so I think I've covered all of the objections outlined in the different appendices. And yeah, hopefully all of the above ensure the licensing objectives: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and protection of children from harm are safely adhered to, and it's clear that they are at the centre of our provision.
Lovely. Okay. Thank you very much. Have we got any questions for the applicants at this stage? And Mr. Weldon.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Miss Bazant. Good morning, Miss Keats. Thanks for the summary there. Just to clarify, obviously there is a genuine concern here with music. You know, we've determined obviously initially that it's incidental, but obviously it could still cause concern if there were any nuisance arising from that. Could you just give me a kind of summary, a bit more focusing on how you intend to control the music within the premises to ensure that it doesn't disturb people outside, please, if possible? Thank you.
So I think this was one of the reasons why one of the applicants or the objectors withdrew their application, because when they came to the premises, they actually thought that the pamper party room, which was the area that was causing issues, was where the gym used to be. And they had previous issues with the gym noises at 5 a.m, but actually it's in a very different position to where they expected. I also explained to them when they visited us that the backbone of our business is a salon. We offer mum-to-be massages, aromatherapy treatments, relaxation treatments. So we cannot have blaring music. It would be detrimental to the backbone of our business. When we do have pamper parties, the staff who are trained will be the people in charge of music. So again, the volume will be in respect of not only our treatments going on alongside it, relaxation treatments, but also to respect everyone else around. And as I stated when they came, we had tried all of our music systems and we'd played them. We'd actually played them really, really, really loud to see, you know, what they were like, and no one heard us. But there's no way we're going to even be playing them to that level anyway.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add as well is if everybody looks at the plan of the building, you can see that the pamper party room is located towards the back of the building. So it's got no windows, no doors. It's situated towards the back of the building, and then next door to the pamper party room, you have the main salon.
They share a wall.
They share a wall, and then next to that, you've then got the road, and then you've got Home Castle House. So the salon, where all of the relaxing treatments are going on, are in between the pamper party room, where there will be low-level music, and the residents of Home Castle House. So never will music be an issue for Home Castle House because of where it's geographically located.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Have we got any other questions for the applicants at this stage?
Look, could I just ask Emma what's actually in the party pamper room? What's actually in there?
So we've got a large table, a fridge, a projector which has a system called Roxy installed in it, which has like thousands of games. Because the majority of inquiries we get are kids pamper parties, and it's got ability to play music on as well. That's the thing that's the issue. And then we've got a very small dance floor for and disco lights for the kids.
Okay. All right, so you're having children in now, you then to this pamper party room.
Yeah, the majority of our inquiries are kids' birthday parties for a mini manicure or pedicure.
Okay.
2 hours in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're both mums, and we designed
Yeah.
it. We designed it to be a room that that 6-year-old girls would absolutely love to hang
Yeah.
out in. That's how it's
Yeah.
designed.
Yeah, it's just the level of music. If it's background music and they want to dance, that's so the music would probably be in that room a bit more than background music, wouldn't it?
It, as we said, it has to be of a certain volume because we've got our salon running.
Yeah.
So we have to manage the sound level to ensure that it doesn't disturb the treatments going on by the other therapists.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
you
more
also,
of a novelty, the dance floor, if you like.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
not
you're
the-
having sort of, sorry to interrupt you. I'm not, carry on. Sorry, I thought you
No,
finished.
I don't know. I finished. That's all right.
Okay, fine. You're also having hen parties, I believe, that type of thing, or hen pamper nights, or whatever you call them.
Yeah, we've had one inquiry or one booking for
Yeah.
a group of 7 hens.
Yes, yeah.
And they're actually coming into the salon before. They've got lots of treatments, and then their pamper party starts
Yeah.
at 3:30.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
how,
they will leave our premises by 4:35, by 6
yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many people can you cater for in the party pamper room?
So obviously, depending on COVID, we've set a maximum capacity of 16,
Yeah.
but it's probably looking like it will be 8 to 12 maximum.
Yeah.
And to be honest, our biggest group so far has been 8, and that's a 7-year-old birthday party.
Yeah. On the supply of alcohol, are you looking to supply all types of alcohol or just wine and prosecco?
I think all types of alcohol. As we said, it's not bring your own, but we'd like to be able to, at Christmas time, if someone's having a pedicure in the main salon, be able to offer a glass of mulled wine, a mulled wine pedicure, or a Bailey's hot chocolate, or so yeah, we would like to be able to provide all.
Yeah, I think to kind of to impose a condition on what beverage someone chooses to buy is just isn't in line with any of the objectives. It's really subjective what someone sits down and chooses to relax with, whether that be a beer, a glass of prosecco, or a Bailey's hot chocolate. So I think the suggestion to limit it to prosecco or wine doesn't help with any of the relevant objectives.
I can understand that comment, but I've been in many spas and I've used many spas personally, and the only ones I've ever been to, and one of them was the best spa in the UK, only serve wine and prosecco or champagne. They don't serve anything else other than that, which
That
strikes
really
me as strange.
limits.
It does strike me as strange that you want to go into like gins and whiskies and that sort of thing, because as you know, alcohol can have a counter effect against treatments. As you said in your thing, you're not using it for like hot stone massage and that sort of thing. But you know, how are you going to stop somebody who has had a hot stone massage who then wants a glass of a large gin?
Because it's part of our staff training, and we've got policy documents on our reception desk where they cannot, for the health and safety of that treatment, it can't be accompanied.
Okay.
And it really limits. I think the focus has been on the pamper party room, when actually, again, the backbone of our business is a working salon. And I've been to salons where people do, like gin pedicures, or as I said, of Christmas time, it's nice to have mulled wine or Bailey's hot chocolate, and limiting what we can offer limits our salon.
Yeah,
I understand that.
the only other thing I'd add as well is we're quite interested in a kind of prosecco has female connotations. And you know, in America and things, it's really common. Men go and get manicures and pedicures as standard, and to be able to promote that, you know, come and have a pedicure and one bottle of beer, would be really great for the area. And to impose a condition that isn't possible would be really inappropriate and in breach of the guidance.
Yeah. Well, I've used bars in America as well, and I've only ever been offered a glass of wine. Anyway, that's beside the point. Thank you for those comments, and sorry about the questions.
Mr. Osborne. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I'd just like to ask whether or not either of you have got any background in the licensing trade.
No, I'm a teacher, or was a teacher. So no,
and I'm a lawyer, but no, I haven't run a pub or anything previously.
Okay, thank you.
Super. Is that it for the questions for now? Okay. At this stage of the meeting, we shall move on to the objectors, and that at the moment is Mr. and Mrs. Bodley. Would you like to represent yourselves to us? Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, other participants. So my wife and I are resident here, and I've been asked by the residents of Home Castle to be the mouthpiece for various objections, some of which have already obviously been aired. Our main concern clearly is noise, and particularly noise which may go on into the evenings or late evenings. So we make the following proposals for limiting the activities with regard to alcohol. In the first place, we would like the sale of alcohol to be limited to 9 o'clock, 2100 hours on all 7 evenings of the week. This will give the drinkers time to drink up and finish in a leisurely fashion, and perhaps leave the premises by 9:30, so that residents who go to bed early here, you have to remember, some of us, I'm not, but some are in their 80s and 90s, go to bed early and are entitled to peace and quiet. We wouldn't expect members of a hen party after a couple of hours pampering to come out silently. Obviously, they'd be excited and chattering, and you know, that's to be expected, but we don't want it happening after 10 o'clock at night. So we would like to impose that particular limit. We would also like the license holder to be on the premises at all times when alcohol is being sold. Ms. Bazanta said she can't be, so it may be possible for somebody else to be trained and to be on the premises. That's another thing we would like to see. As regards the training, we would like the training of the staff to be endorsed. It so happens that Karen Llewellyn, the manager here, is one of the objectors, is a former landlady of a pub in Bridgewater. And when she did the training, and her husband, they had to be endorsed by a statutory body. I'm not up in these things, but so rather than the training being in-house, it is ratified by an external authority. Ms. Bazant herself said that alcohol was, if you like, an incidental addition to the pampering. If people are selling any type of drink to anybody, and in any quantity, it's in danger of developing into much more of an incentive to go. Shall we say the alcohol becomes an incentive in its own right, rather than merely the pampering. Just as one other thought, I'll stop in a minute. When we were shown round by Mr. Ormerod, I think we were happy that the music would not intrude. It is right that the music would take place in an enclosed space at the back of the premises and is unlikely to intrude. But things are not always, or don't always work out in practice as they are explained. And I'll just give a small example of this. Mr. Ormerod made it plain that the two bins, the rubbish bins around the front, would be used for disposal of the rubbish from the beauty parlour. One of our residents saw somebody come out of the beauty parlour from a side door and put two black bags of rubbish into rubbish skips, which are designed for the residents of the flats above and not for the beauty parlour at all. It's a small matter in itself, but it just shows you that what was said is not necessarily what is done. So I'll leave it there and happy to take any questions.
Lovely, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay, lovely.
Do we respond, or
if you'd yes, if you'd like to.
Yeah. So the sale to 9 o'clock, again, I think it's and the noise, I think it's really important that we state that we're not a pub turfing out its clients. We are a beauty salon, and that is the focus of the business. The incentive for the people is to come and receive a treatment being accompanied by some alcohol. If it wasn't, they'd go to a pub. So I disagree that the incentive isn't that. Our staff training, I did my license with my personal license with Highfield, and they have sent me specific staff training documents to help me train the staff before the sale of the alcohol. So that is endorsed, as you've suggested. And we also think it's important to note that that we've got neighbouring businesses such as the Green Olive restaurant, and I don't know, there's a pub on the corner, and their businesses are alcohol centred, whereas ours isn't, and their licenses, I'm sure, run to quite a bit later than what we are requesting. So again, we feel it would be unfair to limit ours when we've got that just down the road, and they're going to be walking past your premises to get to Northgate car park. Yeah, that's everything.
Lovely. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for that. Right, have we got any final points or questions, anybody, before we disappear? Any summing up, Mr. Bodley? No, nothing else? Yes.
Oh, sorry, yes, perhaps I may say, do I have to do that? Yeah.
No, you don't need to put your hand up. I've got you now.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much.
Well, well done for doing it. That's good.
Thank Ms. Prezant for her replies. In fact, if I may just say this, last night, in order to establish one or two facts, this was just after 7 o'clock, I wanted to talk to somebody in the beauty parlour, so I walked round and went in. The reception area was unmanned. There was nobody about, so I called out. I went through into the main room. There was nobody about. It was all lit up. Everything was there. The only person working on the premises was somebody in one of the small rooms off the main room, and I was able to speak to her. She couldn't answer my query because she rented the room and she was working there. But it did rather concern me that I could walk in off the street. The whole place was open, and security possibly might be an issue worth investigating. Thank you.
Okay, lovely. Thank you for that. Do you just want to respond, ladies, at all?
Yeah, we don't really have anything to say to that. It's just we're just questioning whether it's relevant to the 4 licensing.
Yeah, it's really. Thank you. Lovely. Okay, so summing up wise, I think. Mr. Osborne.
Excuse me, Chair. Yeah,
Yeah.
can I just ask a question? Just sort of coming out of Mr. Bodley's point, actually. Are all your staff employed by yourselves, or are you actually letting out part of your rooms to other people to rent?
It's a combination of employed and commission splits.
Right. I mean, the reason for asking that is how do you impose the promotion of the license and objectives on people who you do not employ?
They won't be administering the alcohol. It will just be our employed, the commission split ladies. So, for example, the nail tech who they met last night. They won't be administering alcohol. We have 3 fully employed therapists who will be, and they will also be running the pamper parties as well.
So would it be appropriate for potentially if a license were granted, a restriction to be put on that license that alcohol could only be supplied by employed staff?
So what about though the owners of the business? They're not employees.
Well, I mean, owners and employees, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. What I'm trying to say is my concern is that the amount of control that you have by somebody who you are letting out a room to, and whether that person will necessarily have the same desire or ability to promote the license and objectives as you are intending.
So yeah, because I know commission split, they're still technically employed, but it's slightly different.
They're bound by
the same. Yeah, we still see them as the Brick Beauty team. They're bound by everything that we want to adhere to as a business. No.
I can see now. Oh, Mr. Weldon's got his hand up, and I'm mulling it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a massive point that we'd object to. The lady that's in there doing nails, or the Botox lady, wouldn't be the person selling the alcohol.
Well, because her treatment wouldn't be able to. She wouldn't be able to have alcohol. You can't have alcohol 24 hours after receiving Botox, so she wouldn't be offering that to her client. She's a practitioner nurse. She wouldn't be. The only one person is, we've got an acrylic nail technician, commission split, and we do see her as part of the team, although her contract is slightly different. But she could be trained equally as the other staff are trained. She's only in Wednesdays and Saturdays, sorry.
Yeah, so I think it's dealt with by way of the agreement that they signed to be bound by all of the conditions. So they'd be trained and they'd be bound to comply with the rules of the building,
which is in her contract.
Mr. Weldon?
Yeah, following on from Mr. Osborne's question, really, and you may have touched on it just then in your final answer. I mean, clearly the police have got a condition in Appendix K, I think it is. Yeah. It's the first condition regarding the training of staff. So just to clarify, are you saying that the commission staff will be trained to the high level that your own staff will be? Is everybody going to be trained to the same level?
Jordan.
Yes, exactly
Yeah,
that. Together with owners. So owners, employees, and any people on a commission split will be trained appropriately.
Great, thank you. I think actually probably quite difficult to be drinking. You don't want to smudge your nails when you've just had them done. So I would imagine not many people will want to be having a drink when they've had the nails done, but who knows. Lovely. Okay, well, I think we've summed up. I think we've had all the questions. Nothing else from anybody? Panel members? No. Okay, well, at this stage, everybody, this is when we, the panel, retire into a separate room with the legal officer and the committee manager to make our decision, and we will be back as soon as we can with our decision. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a bit. Sedgemoor District Council Licensing and Gambling Panel, 20th of May 2021 decision notice. The Licensing and Gambling Panel has been asked to consider an application for a new premises licence for the premises known as Brick Beauty Salon, 12 to 14 West Quay, Bridgewater, Somerset, following objections from local residents. The panel is advised that the applicant has reached agreement with the police for conditions to be included on any licence, and therefore there is no objection from them. The panel has considered all of the evidence presented by the applicant and objectors, both in person and in writing. The panel's decision is made in accordance with the Council's State of Licensing Policy, the Secretary of State's guidance and current case law. The application as submitted is for the sale and supply of alcohol between 0900 and 2100 hours, Sunday to Thursday, and 0900 hours to 2200 hours, Friday and Saturday. In presenting her application, Ms. Besant advised the panel that this was a new venture and the premises were, as the name suggested, a beauty salon. She was intending to supply alcohol with salon treatments and pamper parties to be consumed on the premises only. It was not her intention to run a public bar, and alcohol would only be provided to those receiving treatments and participating in the pamper parties. She recognised the concerns of the neighbours, but believed there was no risk of the venture causing public nuisance, public safety or crime and disorder, and the steps identified in her operating schedule, together with the conditions recommended by the police, which she was happy to accept, should alleviate those concerns. She did not believe that it was proportionate to restrict the types of alcohol concerned, as they may offer Bailey's hot chocolate or mulled wine at Christmas, for example. In addition, she confirmed that customers would not be allowed to provide their own alcohol. The objectors, who are residents at Homecastle House, an elderly residential complex, were concerned at the risk of additional disturbance in an area already impacted by several licensed premises. In order to mitigate the effect of premises, they sought to reduce the terminal hour for the supply of alcohol to 2100 hours. That alcohol should be provided to complement the treatments, not an alternative to going to the pub. In addition, the alcohol supplied should be limited to Prosecco type sparkling wine, and the licence holder on the premises at all times alcohol is served. The panel has considered the representations, both in writing and in person, from all parties. In considering the application, the panel is mindful of the fact that the applicant has agreed additional conditions with the police. It is apparent to the panel that whilst how the premises and the supply of alcohol will be managed is of concern to the objectors, there is no overwhelming objection to the application in principle. The panel is concerned that alcohol income could become a primary driver for the business to the detriment of the licensing objectives. The new business model was untried and untested, and the introduction of alcohol and its incumbent responsibilities could be an unnecessary and added pressure to the opening of the business. However, the applicant had recognised many of the risks in her operating schedule, and the police had chosen to recommend conditions rather than object to the application. the panel considered that a reduction in the hours for the sale of alcohol would not be a proportionate restriction, given the fact that there were already several licensed premises in the vicinity. Any restriction on the types of alcohol that could be offered would also be unnecessarily restrictive and almost impossible to draft. The panel was concerned about the potential for noise disturbance and concerned about the suggestion of inappropriate disposal of refuse. Accordingly, it is the decision of the panel to grant a premises licence for the Brick Beauty Salon on the terms requested, together with the submitted operating schedule, the conditions agreed with the police, and in order to promote the licensing objectives, the following conditions. Refuse generated by the premises will be disposed of in an appropriate manner. No bottles to be disposed of in receptacles outside the premises during the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. Only alcohol supplied by the business will be consumed on the premises, and also training records and incident book to be made available to the police and council licensing staff on request. So that concludes our meeting today. Thank you all very much for attending, and goodbye and good luck, girls.